It has officially been 1 full year since the release of Avengers Endgame. The film released on April 26th of 2019 and received praise from both critics and audiences alike. And it quickly became the highest grossing movie of all time, amassing a worldwide total of $2,797,800,564. And upon its release, I gave it the highest of praises by awarding it a full 10 out of 10 score. And now, after a full year has passed, and various rewatches have occurred, how have my thoughts changed? Hello ladies and gentlemen, and movie lovers of all kind, and welcome to another Let's Discuss video. As always, I am your host, Brett Murphy, and for today's video, we are going to be looking at how my thoughts and opinions have changed on Avengers Endgame 1 year after its release. In case you missed it, earlier this week, I was invited by some of my favorite YouTubers and personal inspirations of mine, being Ren Geekness and Zach Pope. We were also joined by one of the funniest people I know, Jared Buckendahl. We all got together and did a live watch-along of Endgame on its 1 year anniversary. So if you missed it on the live stream, you can still find the video on Ren's channel, and you can feel like you're watching it with a few friends. Well, the rest seems pretty self-explanatory, so without further ado, let's assemble and hop right into things. Alrighty, so I figured it was probably best to address the elephant in the room first, and no, that wasn't a fat joke. If you go back and watch my review for Avengers Endgame when it first released, my only negative with the movie is the decision they made to change one character. And of course, now it's pretty common knowledge that, for me, that negative, I was talking about the fat Thor, or I guess as he's better known now as bro or dude Thor. So I figured since that was my only negative for the movie back when it first came out, that I would address that first to see if my thoughts have changed on that. And they actually have, and quite drastically. So now not only am I okay with the decision for bro or dude Thor, but I actually think it was the right choice. Hear me out if you still don't agree with this character change. The way I see it, you are looking at a character who is essentially a god. He just lost everything. He lost his brother, Thanos killed him right in front of his eyes, he's lost half of his people, he's lost everything, and he blames it all on himself. So what does he do? He isolates himself, he goes into a deep depression, and binge drinks for 5 straight years. To me, that's a realistic reaction given who he is and the circumstances. And not only that, but I think that his character arc is one of the best throughout Endgame's runtime. And I know some people kind of claimed this to be fat shaming, but I really don't think it is, and here's why. When it comes to the final battle, and he catches Stormbreaker and Mjolnir, he doesn't go back to regular old Thor. No, he stays as this version of Thor, and to me, that's amazing, because it's saying that you can still look like that, and feel how you felt, and you can still be a hero. Really, if you think about it, this version of Thor is more of an inspiration than any other version, and while it looked like a joke at first, and there are a few jabs at it here and there, he is still as badass and as much of a hero as ever. And that one moment, one of my favorite moments now in the entire movie, when he goes back in time and Mjolnir still comes to him, he realizes that he's still worthy. The look on his face is absolutely priceless. But now I have another negative instead, and this one, it kind of bothers me the more and more you think about it and kind of how dumb it is. It doesn't have a huge impact on the movie or anything like that, but it does bother me, and that is the fact that essentially the entire plot gets kicked off because of a rat. The rat that sends Scott Lang back into the world. It just, to me, it's just a really easy way out. It's a total cop-out. A rat walking across, hits the right buttons, and really with something so complex, probably the right sequence of buttons, in the right order, in the right time, the fact that it would still have power and still be running after 5 years and sitting in an old dusty garage, and to me just the fact that essentially the entire universe gets saved by a rat. You know what I mean? It's just like I said, it feels like a total cop-out, and to me, it's kind of annoying. I really wish they thought of a more creative way to do it. The next thing, and this thing isn't with the movie itself, but after rewatching it so many times, I am still so damn impressed with this movie and so in love with it. I was utterly devastated, I'll say that. I was utterly devastated when it didn't win Best Visuals. I thought it was an absolute shoo-in. Now, don't get me wrong. I liked 1917 quite a lot, and I liked how their visuals were very subtle, practically seamless. And with Avengers Endgame, there were moments in that movie that were completely CGI, and it was flawless. It looked lifelike. It's absolutely insane to me. If you look at Thanos, or if you look at the time travel suits, those were completely CGI, and a lot of people don't even realize that. Or even its more subtle things, like how they made Tony Stark so much thinner. Or again, you look at the big bombastic final epic battle, all CGI, and it looks shockingly good. And then the other thing again that disappoints me with the Oscars, and I know I shouldn't be holding Oscars so high, but the fact that Alan Silvestri wasn't even at least nominated for his score, which is probably like top 3 movie scores of all time for me, it blows my mind that he wasn't even considered. Next to the fact that I still think the best moments are still the best. I mean, the obvious ones, the portal scene, Cap wielding Mjolnir, a few other ones, Tony Stark's ultimate sacrifice, Tony Stark's funeral, things like that. I still think those moments are probably the best moments, but I believe that other moments have now stepped into the spotlight quite a bit for me. Like I mentioned earlier, like Thor finding out he's still worthy when Mjolnir comes to him. It just puts a big dumb smile on my face and brings a tear to my eye. Other smaller moments too, like Rocket embracing Nebula when they first bring Tony Stark back to Earth, knowing that they've lost everything and they're all they have left in this whole universe. Or when Tony gets to have that conversation with his dad and you have that line that no amount of money ever bought a second of time. And that final hug between Steve and Bucky, which we now know, according to Sebastian Stan, that he was told that that was essentially supposed to be a goodbye hug. And that line that echoes all the way from Captain America the First Avenger when he says, "Don't do anything stupid while I'm gone." And he goes, "How can I? You're bringing all the stupid with you." It's little things like that, the little moments that have really grown on me over my various rewatches. And now they're getting up there to be considered by me as one of the best moments with the more epic moments. And after that is something that I know a lot of people were saying when the movie first came out, and I am kind of agreeing now. I will say this: I love the MCU, and I'm very, very much so looking forward to the future, but Endgame really could have been the endgame for the MCU. Now, of course, we knew it wouldn't be because Marvel's an absolute cash cow, and it probably will continue to be for the foreseeable future, but that really could have been it, and I would have been satisfied with that being the end, because it was a very, very fitting ending. Or even if that wasn't the definitive ending, that wasn't it, I still would have been okay if they took a little break. I myself, along with many others, aren't really feeling this yet, but I know that there are a ton of people that are really starting to feel that superhero movie saturation. They're really kind of getting sick and tired of superhero movies dominating the box office and getting a new superhero movie every single month, and all the movie news is, blowing up about superhero movies. I understand that. I get it. So I really think that it would have been okay if the MCU took a couple years of a break and then come back swinging real hard and heavy. But instead, it was like 3 months later, we got Spider-Man Far From Home. Which brings me to my next point, and I really do not feel like Far From Home was the best possible way to go after Avengers Endgame. Now, I understand that Endgame was the most emotionally charged, emotionally driven, and emotionally draining movie of the MCU. And I know that they probably want to go for a bit more lighthearted fun, and that's most likely why they chose Spider-Man as the follow-up, that paired with, the relationship that Tony and Peter had. But I feel like Far From Home tries its best in its opening moments to kind of just make it a joke. They call it the blip, and they show their little montage of everyone coming back and stuff like that, and they basically just turn it into a joke and then kind of continue on ignoring it, and the only thing that really links it back to Endgame is Peter missing Tony and still trying to, fill those shoes and be the next Iron Man. And Far From Home, I think, is a really solid movie. I think it's a great Spider-Man movie, but I just don't think that was the way to go after Endgame. It is what it is, tomato, tomato, potato, potato. And the last thing is the fact that, other than that, nothing has really changed for me for this movie. I'm not going to go through, if you want to watch my full review, it's still up on the channel, even though I don't do movie reviews anymore. I did a spoiler-free one and a spoiler-filled one, but for me, this is still the best movie of the MCU. Probably it's my favorite superhero movie of all time, like right behind The Dark Knight. I love it. For me, if I had to grade it right now, I would still give it a 10 out of 10, A+, 5 out of 5, whatever you want to call it. I still adore this movie. No matter how many times I rewatch it, it still brings out every single emotion. It still hits home. I still love it just as much as I did the first time that I saw it. As of right now, that is my favorite theater going experience that I've ever had in my life. But aside from that, for me, Endgame is still that. It is Avengers Endgame. Come on, people. So that is all for today's video, folks. Let me know down in the comments, how have your thoughts and opinions changed over the last year since Endgame's release? If you enjoyed that video, be sure to hit that like button. And if you'd like to see more content, consider subscribing to my channel and dinging that little bell icon. That way you can be notified about all of my latest uploads. As always, stay safe. Thank you so much for watching. And that's a wrap. Hey you, yeah you, if you made it this far, just know I appreciate you, and while you're here, consider hitting that subscribe button.